Welcome. My name is Katie Tank, and I am a labor and employment attorney, and I work with NeighborImpact on various matters as they arise. I'm going to talk with you about two different topics today: discrimination and harassment. NeighborImpact is an equal opportunity employer. It also has an equal opportunity employment policy, which states that it will not discriminate in the terms and conditions of employment because of an employee's membership in a protected class. The list of protected classes are set by state, local, and federal governments. The list of protected classes include race, color, national origin, citizenship, gender, pregnancy, family relationships, marital status, veterans, military service, sexual orientation, gender identity, age, disability, religion, and genetics. It's a long list. NeighborImpact's commitment to you is that it will not make employment decisions based upon any employee's membership in a protected class. It won't make employment decisions based upon your race, disability, age, gender, etc. What in turn does NeighborImpact expect of you? As a NeighborImpact employee, you are also prohibited from engaging in unlawful discrimination in the workplace. Not only that, if you personally experience unlawful discrimination or observe it, we expect you to report that immediately to your supervisor, manager, human resources, or the executive director. NeighborImpact takes its non-discrimination policy very seriously, and everyone at NeighborImpact has an obligation to ensure that unlawful discrimination does not occur in the workplace. But non-discrimination is not just an employment issue. NeighborImpact will also not discriminate with regard to the services it provides to the public. In other words, NeighborImpact can't and won't deny or withhold services because of an individual's membership in a protected class. We understand that most people have no desire or intent to engage in lawful discrimination, but an impression of discrimination can arise based upon things you say, even if well-intentioned or innocent. For example, simply inquiring about a protected class, unless directly relevant to the services that are going to be provided, may raise an inference of discrimination. That may be a comment like, "I hear you have an accent. What country are you from?" Or, "Why are you in a wheelchair?" Remember that those kind of comments, even if innocent, or attempts at humor, can be used against you and NeighborImpact. So be very careful what you say. The law provides civil claims and remedies for victims of unlawful discrimination. And that means not only NeighborImpact is at risk for unlawful discrimination, but also individual employees can also be at risk. If you have any questions at all regarding NeighborImpact's non-discrimination or EEO policy, please contact your supervisor, human resources, or the executive director. So I'm going to switch now and talk a little bit about harassment. NeighborImpact also has a policy prohibiting harassment in the workplace. The policy and the law prohibits discrimination based upon any membership in any protected class. And I talked to you already about the protected classes, but that can be because of gender, race, disability, etc. Most of you have probably already heard about sexual harassment, and that generally consists of unwanted sexual advances, touching, or unwanted and offensive sexual jokes or comments in the workplace. This type of behavior is never appropriate and will not be tolerated at NeighborImpact. But unlawful harassment is not just about sex. It's much broader than that. It also prohibits harassment based upon membership in any protected class. And that can be actions or statements that show hostility or animosity towards individuals who are in a protected class. This may include singling out minorities or women for adverse treatment or derogatory comments in the workplace. Unlawful harassment also isn't just about what a man says to a woman or vice versa. It also includes same-sex harassment, women harassing women because of gender, or men harassing men because of gender. NeighborImpact's policy also prohibits harassment of employees by third parties, such as clients and vendors. Always remember that harassment is viewed in the eye of the beholder. If someone might be offended by a comment or joke that you might make, keep it to yourself. Exercise good judgment and model good behavior at all times while at work. Also, don't use company systems to transmit or receive things that might violate NeighborImpact's anti-harassment policy, and the same applies to your use of social media. Everyone bears the responsibility of ensuring that NeighborImpact is a harassment-free workplace. If you see it or experience any harassment, report it right away to your supervisor, manager, HR, or the executive director. Harassment complaints will be investigated and prompt and appropriate remedial action taken. Retaliation against those who make complaints or participate in an investigation also will not be tolerated. Remember that unlawful harassment not only puts NeighborImpact at risk, harassers also can be potentially liable. Thank you for listening, and thank you for the good work you do for NeighborImpact and the community.